Welcome to the Middle Mile Manifest, brought to you by CloudSort Corporation. Tired of the same logistics talk? I'm your host, Yasmin DeCostard, and in each episode, we'll explore the latest strategies, cutting-edge tech, sustainable practices, and debunk myths, all while keeping it fun and engaging. Get ready for expert guests and real-world stories. Whether you're a newbie or a pro, we hope that you enjoy the Middle Mile Manifest, where logistics gets interesting. Hey guys, it's Yasmin with the Middle Mile Manifest. We're kicking things off in our very first podcast with Heidi K and Keith Roper from CloudSort Corporation. Hi guys.
Morning.
Hey, good morning.
We are going to talk today about why on-site sortation isn't scary. So I was going to kick off with Heidi until I saw Keith's amazing outfit. So I would like to kick off with Keith. And you must explain this amazing wardrobe.
Yes, so it is NCAA weeks here in Dallas, which is cheer competition. My daughter is a competitive cheerleader. Cheer dad life.
Amazing! I love it.
So I'm taking a break from the show. I've got my cheer dad garb. My daughter on my shirt, my sparkly jacket. We've got custom hats. We've got lot up shoes. We go all out for this. It's cheer dad life is a serious. So I'm taking a break to hang out with you guys, have some fun, and talk about sortation and all the great things going on.
I love it so much. You win the wardrobe contest today. So why don't you introduce yourself in terms of what you do at CloudSort, and then we'll skip over to Heidi.
Yeah, so I'm Keith Roper. I'm the head of sales at CloudSort. Been with the organization coming up on 6 years in June.
And I'll take it from there. I'm Heidi K, head of strategy and business operations at CloudSort. Been here 2 years and really work with everybody in the organization and also helping onboard new clients.
Amazing. And you guys recently went to Manifest the conference in Las Vegas. What were some of the cool things you saw or did?
I'll take that one first. So there were a ton of people there. It was a huge show this year. Keith and I spent 2 days really walking the exhibit hall floor. And I would say the two things that stuck out to me the most were, first, all of the AI booths and what people are coming up with to use AI in the transportation and data around transportation space. And the second one was tracking capabilities. There were so many new, embedding a tracking device in a label type solution, or, an ink display with a label. There were just a whole bunch of tracking opportunities. So for me, those were the two things that stuck out. I'm excited to see where all of these AI solutions end up and who's there next year. And then from a tracking device perspective, I'm excited to see the price of those come down. And I think there's a lot of upside with all of these different tracking devices coming into the market.
Cool.
Yeah, I think Manifest is always a great show, and this year certainly did not disappoint. I mean, a ton of folks showed up from all different walks of life. Some of the interesting things that outside of what Heidi mentioned with AI were robots. There were some robots running around. That was actually really interesting to see. I think it's going to be fun to continue to watch that ideal grow. There was some drone technology, but again, AI is just kind of the buzzword right now, and it's going to continue to be interesting to see how people really implement this into their organizations and the platform to really just drive the success of logistics in general. So excited to see who comes back next year and what new emerging technology makes its debut.
Amazing. Super cool. Yeah, I'm very excited to see what Manifest offers next year. So let's go ahead and get started. So what are some of the most common misconceptions about on-site sortation that make businesses hesitant to implement it?
Sure. I think this was a fun one. I get asked this all the time. I think the biggest pieces are it's expensive. It takes a ton of space. They don't want to deal with implementing automation or a complex integration that takes an amount of time to get set up. And then once it's set up is very rigid and hard to make changes. I think the one thing that CloudSort's done an amazing job of is just kind of putting all those out to pasture. The reality is you don't need a ton of space. It is not a heavy lift. It is not an expensive endeavor. Like, we make it very, very simple as an organization to deploy a sortation operation virtually anywhere. I've teased, clients and just folks, and I'm talking to in the industry, that we could stand up a sortation operation in a closet if that's the only space we could come up with. So I don't think it's scary, and I think when we start having these type conversations with people in the industry, we're able to kind of lay out how we've done it in a different way to make it simple, intuitive, and again, just as easy as possible to kind of take that fear out of it.
Great. And I'm pretty sure I saw one of our employees, Brian, sorting in a closet once when we were on a work call. So we can do it.
Absolutely.
So Heidi, how has technology evolved to make on-site sortation more accessible and less intimidating for businesses of all sizes?
So kind of carrying on from what Keith said, obviously cloud computing changed everything. And with cloud computing and the availability of scanner devices and phones that can have sortation loaded on them in the scanner case or on a phone, being able to download a sortation app can make it super easy and super cost effective to be able to roll out sortation technology. And along with that, these apps really, a sortation app or a sortation solution will really guide an associate through their workday. So basically, it'll tell them what to do next, what to anticipate, and really be able to guide them with the prompts on the screen to make sure that they are able to put packages in the right location. In addition to that, obviously API integrations have made things super easy and simple, and really with a single API integration, usually everything can be taken care of, from being able to sort and route packages based on any attribute that a client has. And really, the new way of thinking and sortation around these asset light solutions allows a client to be super nimble. So to Keith's earlier point, like if you have to make a change and today you need to route this package through Texas and tomorrow you need to route it through LA, right? You have that ability to make these changes on the fly. And historically that didn't happen because you would print out a physical static sort code on a label. And of course, to get that changed and then have that changed upstream would take multiple days. In the meantime, resulting missorts were taking place. So really, the technology has come so far in the sortation space that you can make these changes quickly. They're implemented near real time, and then different package routing decisions can be made.
That's amazing. And tech really has evolved. It's really fun to watch. Could you walk us through a typical on-site sortation process and maybe highlight some of the benefits it offers?
Sure. So I think the first thing is think of a warehouse building and super simple and ideal layout. You have your unload doors on one side, your load doors on the other side, and in between that space, you have all kinds of different operations going on. So what you really need to do is in that space in between your load and unload, find space. We have seen successful sortation operations in as little as 2,500 square feet. So just finding that space, and usually there is idle space within an existing facility that can be leveraged for sortation. It's just a matter of focusing, we can do it in a much smaller space than we thought was required. And then essentially what happens is a floor layout is, once you identify the space, a floor layout is built, and that is guided through for instance, our technology guides through that process, and you essentially set up specific floor locations for specific activities. So for example, where you're containerizing, you will have specific barcodes on the floor that will guide associates on that they are at the right location when they are scanning and doing the actual sortation process. And then also within this space, I lost my train of thought. Sorry.
Okay, thoroughly.
So the benefits of sortation really allow a shipper to sort by carrier, by zone, or truly any attribute. So if a shipper needs to sort, let's say by weight, they have that ability to do that within the sortation software. It's really identifying those attributes to be able to say, I need this package to go here and this package to go to this other location. And the other thing that sortation really enables is the containerization at origin. And I feel like we don't always talk about this as enough. So essentially, if you are containerizing packages at the origin location, you are going to be reducing touches throughout the remainder of that container's path. And reducing touches ultimately, right, reduces cost, but it also can reduce that time in transit, which everybody is kind of vying for cheap and fast right now. So just having sortation can unlock a whole bunch of different capabilities from a cost and time in transit perspective.
It's super helpful, and it really does sound pretty straightforward and simple to go through.
Absolutely.
Can you guys share some success stories that demonstrate maybe the positive impact of on-site sortation on efficiency and customer satisfaction?
Yeah, I'll start on this one. Success stories, like this is the best part of everything. I think one of the biggest success stories has always been from the beginning, and we've kind of alluded to this throughout the conversation already, is reutilization of existing space. And being able to deploy a let's just say a pop-up sortation center inside an existing building, and reutilize that space. So this space is getting used all day except for at night. We wheel the equipment out, you stand up a sortation operation, you sort for 4, 6, 8 hours, and then you compress all this, move it out of the way, and you get to reutilize that existing space. Kind of goes back to the theme of we don't actually need as much space to stand up an operation as a lot of people think. I think that's a huge success of just the technology in general and the ideal of what CloudSort has built. Some of the other success stories are with clients that are typically what are considered asset light or even asset free carriers, and our ability to enable them to stand up, grow, and scale a sortation network that fits their organization and is exactly where they need it. Okay, so in years past, if you needed sortation, you had to go and find a building that had automation or a sortation stood up, and that didn't mean it was anywhere near where you needed it to be. With CloudSort, if you need to sort in, I'm based in Dallas, of course, but you need to sort in Amarillo, within 4 miles of this building, the likelihood is we could work together with you to find a partner to deploy a solution that could get you that close. So back to what Heidi was saying, move this sort upstream, get closer to the origin, but potentially also closer to the destination, and allow you to stand up these sort centers within a network where you need them. So without getting into exact client information, but I think these are some of the greatest successes of what we've done and really enabled our partners to build, scale, and again grow that type of network and solution.
That's great.
I have one to share. Mine is, I guess, a little bit more specific around a specific client. Not going to share any names here, but we have a client that we have worked with multiple years, and it's really a peak sortation solution. Obviously, we all know that there's a crunch for space to be able to process packages around the holidays. And what we've done with this client over multiple years is, in this instance, they have the space, but they don't necessarily, it's a short time frame, it's a pop-up type scenario. So they need somebody to come in with software and with the resources, associates, to be able to do the work. So what we do is we partner with this client. We use our sortation technology. So it's a matter of, we get out there within a day, we are essentially ready to set up and start that sort operation. And then we operate through the holiday season, right up to and past, I would say, that mid-December cutoff. And we sort all of their packages and we don't handle the transportation. Obviously, we're focused on the sortation, but we ensure everything within the four walls from a sortation perspective is taking place. We have had changes to load plans on the fly at the beginning of a shift. We've been told, oh, hey, today we need to route this differently, and we've had to explode one sort point into 8 sort points, so doing those extra splits to make the downstream impact of sorting those packages easier, because somewhere downstream there needed to be some relief. There was far too many packages to process. So for me, the fact that our sortation technology can be super easy to deploy, like I said, it's all set up within a day, and we, just as a heads up, it was well over 50K a day at this particular location. So again, really, it doesn't need to be difficult. You don't need an automated sorter to be able to have an efficient sort operation.
That's awesome. Keith, can you tell us a little bit about how on-site sortation integrates with existing warehouse management systems and what level of technical expertise is required?
Sure. It's gonna need a lot more expertise than I have, but everyone that is integrated with us or that we've worked with has always been very complimentary of how simple and easy we are to work with. We're a very transparent organization. Our API is extremely easy to understand and work with, and then all the available information that you would need to feed back into your WMS or your TMS is available through multiple webhooks, whether that be arrival scan times, containerization, what packages are in what container, staging time, loading time, dispatch time, so you know how many packages are going outbound, how many containers you have going outbound, what truck they're leaving on, what time they leave. And I'm sure I'm missing tons of other endpoints that we have, but this is just typically what most folks kind of ingest, but all of that is readily available to ingest and integrate and push that back to your WMS or again, TMS or anywhere within the system that you need. So again, I am not an IT guy, so I say this is easy, so take that with a grain of salt, but everyone that we talk with, everyone that we work with, again, is very complimentary of how easy that is to do.
Yes. So basically, if you can do it, anyone can do it.
That's the way I see it. Absolutely.
What advice do you guys have for businesses considering on-site sortation, but are maybe apprehensive about the implementation process?
Yeah, I'll start on this one. My advice is just reach out. Let's have a conversation. Let's just learn. Let's learn together. I think that the market continues to just need more collaboration. We've talked throughout the short podcast already, and I think simplicity and ease of use has been kind of a key metric that we've mentioned over and over. Again, one of the things, and I probably should have mentioned this earlier, that I'm extremely proud of, but like Heidi hit on it a couple of times, we had a partner last year that we launched 7 new facilities with them in the last half of last year. So, if you're considering and you're apprehensive about it, like if we can launch 7 new facilities with a new partner in the second half of a year, I think that just kind of goes to show that we can essentially do or come up with a solution that would fit virtually anyone's needs. And everything we build and everything we strive for is simplistic, intuitive, and we're very transparent and strive to be very easy to work with, partner focused. So again, my biggest advice is just reach out, let's have a conversation. We'll find a way to make something that works for you. If we can't, we'll be honest and upfront. We'll help you find a solution that will, whether it's us or not.
Great.
I guess it's my,
Yeah, no, go ahead, Heidi.
So not much more to add to what Keith said, but happily, we are happy to give anybody a demo. I think oftentimes seeing what we have built and how easy sortation can be is completely eye-opening. And I think it takes away that fear of, oh my gosh, it's going to be, 2 years of a technology implementation that's going to take all of my IT resources. And it's not. It's a single API integration, and everything else is based off of that. And it's a super easy workflow. Our software can guide an associate, like I said, from start to finish through their process. And really, sortation also has some added benefits, right? You are able to change routing decisions, right? It enables zone skipping, which we know everybody is looking at reducing price right now from a transportation perspective. And it also provides visibility. So I think there's nothing wrong with doing a quick demo just to show how easy it can be.
Yeah, that's great. And really the takeaway for me, based on what you guys have shared so far, is don't be afraid to ask questions if you're considering on-site sortation. Technological advancements have really paved the way for asset light and simple implementations and processes that really can be stood up pretty quickly. So super helpful. Thank you. Heidi, what are some trends that you're seeing as you look at the year ahead?
So I think I've touched on this already, but I think we're in 2025, right? Moving forward, I think in the short term at least, I expect to see continued carrier diversification. So clients wanting to use multiple carriers, forcing the need for some sort of sortation. And then right now, I would also say cost is prevailing over time in transit. So from a shipper's perspective, they are more concerned about what is it costing me to ship this package versus how quickly can I get it to a client. And those two can have trade-offs and they change over time depending on what other market forces, I would say. I'm definitely expecting to see some regional carriers step up. We've seen a lot of them, right? We've lost some, but I definitely think the regional carriers, this is going to be the year where some of those regional carriers take the center stage, especially as we head into the peak season.
Great. So
Absolutely.
Go ahead, Keith.
Yeah, so I agree with Heidi on that one. And one piece to expand is I think another piece we're going to see trends heading into the upcoming years is really the connection between the shipper and these regional carriers, from ground solutions to air solutions, just zone skipping. Zone skipping is not a new concept; it's been around forever, but I think it's going to continue to become more and more important, as Heidi's said a couple of times. Price is key. And how can folks lower the price? And I think you're going to start seeing more of these technologies, again, whether it be ground transportation, zone skipping, or the multiple new entities into the marketplace that are using air to zone skip. So I think you're going to see that. And the important piece is just how does this new technology make it simple to connect, again, the shipper to these multiple inject points for regional carriers that have typically more of a little more fragmented network than a national carrier. And again, to Heidi's point, sortation is going to be key within that. And then, where are you doing it? So you don't have to be in a major metro to be able to find and stand up and do sortation. We can do it virtually wherever your operation is, whether it's in a small area outside of the major dense, population. We could, deploy and off your dock. And allow you to make those decisions up front. So I think, along with the regional carrier, are going to continue to see these other emerging technologies really make a play in the rest of this year and heading into 2026.
Great. So we are going to start a tradition where we leave behind a question for our next podcast guests to answer. So do either of you have a question you'd like to leave behind? No question is off limits.
Go ahead, Heidi. You got something, I'm sure.
Well, so if anyone doesn't know me, I have this history of making people sing karaoke that don't want to. So my question is, what is your go-to karaoke song?
That's so good. What is your go-to karaoke song?
Well, nobody wants to hear me sing in general. So I have learned that the songs that are more talking than singing are the way to go. So I would say probably TNT by AC/DC is a good one.
Yeah, that's smart. That's a good tip, actually. I hate karaoke.
It's a great.
I love
it's a
it,
great
but
tip.
I hate it. Yeah, that's a good tip.
Yes, I have one for you.
Okay.
If you could have an animal sidekick, what would it be and why?
Oh, fascinating. Do I have to answer it now?
Oh, absolutely.
Animal sidekick. Well, in what context? Like on a day-to-day context, on this podcast,
No,
in,
just, I
in
will,
general?
if I were to have an animal sidekick, it's going to be the lion, the king of the jungle. They look really soft. And if you walk into a room with a lion next to you, I don't think, you're going to have trouble talking to anyone or anyone, messing with you. Or close second would be a monkey for the same reason. You walk into a room and just have a good time and laugh and carry on.
Oh,
So
that's
take
so
that
funny.
context
That's so good.
take that context however you, I need to know your animal sidekick.
That's hysterical. Oh gosh, so many to choose from. The first thing that comes to mind, honestly, is an eagle, only because I constantly see eagles outside one of my windows when I'm working. So it's almost like a spirit animal. I don't understand. I don't know what it means, but and I'm not a bird person, so I don't know. But yeah, I would say eagle. Why? Literally because I just see it constantly. But I go through phases. Like there was a phase where I was seeing raccoons all the time. Like, don't know what that means.
Awesome. Well, I'm sorry I put you on the spot, but I
No,
figured
it's great. Yeah, I was like,
out.
I love it. Well, thank you both so much for joining me today. You guys were great. I love you both. Have a great rest of your day. And if those of you listening have any suggestions of future guests you'd like to see on our podcast, please email marketing@cloudsort.com. Have a good day, guys.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you for watching this episode of the Middle Mile Manifest presented by CloudSort. You can keep up with us by following our socials and subscribing to the Middle Mile Manifest on YouTube and Spotify.